In a world where carbs are your enemy, you need one man to help you fight your battles. That man is Jimmy.
Combating nutrition disinformation and general bull. It's Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com.
The best quality steaks that you can't get anywhere else in the world. Visit crowdcow.com/low carb show and they'll give you $25 off of your first order. Be informed, know the source, eat better meat. Crowd Cow.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another Instagram Live. And we're here with another episode of Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website. You'll see how the show works. We start off over on Instagram. So if you're not following me and you're watching this anywhere but Instagram, go follow me on Instagram at Livin' Low Carb Man. That's LIVINLOWCARBMAN. Once you're there, you can actually engage in the content live, just like all these people are doing right now. If you missed the live, you can watch the replay for up to 24 hours. Hundreds of you do that every single day. Thank you so much for watching this on replay. You can also watch this on YouTube. After 24 hours, it does disappear from Instagram. So go watch it on YouTube. Type in Jimmy Rants as a keyword search. You will find over 200 episodes of this show up on YouTube. Finally, we have a Jimmy Rants podcast, which has the best of the best moments of this here show in podcast form. It's the Jimmy Rants podcast on Apple Podcasts and Stitcher. JimmyRants.com is the website. Today's Jimmy Rants is all about those people who are out there putting this message, especially on social media, that anybody that dares make money off of keto is not in it for the right reasons and thus are totally discredited. And I've seen this quite a bit lately, you guys, where people will say, hey, if you sell anything related to keto, then your heart's not really in it. You don't really aim to help people. You're only in it for the money. Get out of our site. Hashtag keto is free. And all of these kind of thoughts are put out there. And then people read those and they say, oh, yeah, keto is free, blah, 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 blah. So I'm here today, and what I want to talk about here today is the value of keto entrepreneurs. And as always, I'm going to step on some toes because people think that there is only shysters out there trying to make money off of keto. And this whole keto is free movement. I want to respond to this directly because here's the thing, you guys. When I wrote Keto Clarity 5 years ago was when that book came out. And I was testing nutritional ketosis 7 years ago. There was no keto community. There was nobody talking about keto at all. I did a very famous now N=1 experiment where I openly talked about nutritional ketosis, blogged about it every single day, posted blood sugar and blood ketone readings every single day, shared about what I was eating, shared about what I was doing, shared about my updates on blood markers, updates on health, blah, 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 blah. Sharing. Oh yeah, by the way, for free. For free. And did that for many years. And I had the great opportunity to be able to write a book about it. And that book's called Keto Clarity. That book, yes, is something that I sell. And I have no problem in selling a book that adds value to people's lives. And I think this is what's lost in this whole keto is free movement. If you're just joining us, there is this movement with the hashtag keto is free that makes the claim that nobody should ever make any money off of keto because the message is free, thus it should be put out there. Here's the funny thing about this movement. if there was nobody making money off of keto, if there was no books written about it, there's some products that we could probably do without, but if people weren't able to be successful at making a living off of this message, how do you think the message would continue? What would be the motivation for people to share? And here's the funny thing for me. When I wrote Keto Clarity, there was no other keto book out there. My book was the very first book that put keto in the title. Before that, you had low carb, and you had, low carb living and this kind of thing. But nobody had really talked about keto in the way that we did in Keto Clarity. Then people started reading my book and then parroting, sometimes putting it in their own words, the things that I put in there. Shifting your body over from being a sugar burner to a fat burner. Low carb, moderate protein, high fat. All of the things that I talked about in my book, people then started parroting. So then it became a part of the Keto is Free online stuff. But had I not written that book, and had others since I wrote that book not come along and put information out there, would you know about keto today? Do you ever stop and think about that? Why do you know about keto so well today? What is it that would have caused that information to come online but for the success of a book like Keto Clarity? And I've written several keto books since then that have added to that knowledge. So I want to put a finer point on this whole idea that you're not allowed to make money off of keto, and you're in it for the wrong reasons if you do. Why is it that if you can make money off of keto, why is it that they're just automatically delegitimized? Maybe someone has come up with a formula for a product and or service or book or whatever that connects with people. And it's that connection to people that allows them to then understand it better. Is that person not allowed to get compensated for their intellectual property? Are they not allowed for having that talent and ability to communicate it in a very clear way with an audience? And that audience, are they not allowed to then partake in that information and run with it and then form their own opinions based on what they read in that book? It's silly to me that we are devaluing people that have an entrepreneurial spirit when it comes to keto. Now, let me be very clear. I am not in favor of those companies that willy-nilly jump into keto. Slim Fast! Slim Fast. They have no business being involved in keto. They only got involved because of the trend. And there's other companies out there that are pushing themselves as keto when they're anything but. I got a whole nother Jimmy rants I want to do all about these companies that supposedly are keto and they're anything but. But staying on task here, the value of keto entrepreneurship that we should be celebrating and not discouraging is they put it on the map. Think about the F-bomb people. So they have the drop an F-bomb products, the little macadamia nut butter in packets. And right there on the package, they say fat is smart fuel. They say not low fat, not even a little. They're putting out a positive, good message that reinforces what we talk about with keto. Plus, oh yeah, by the way, they become this really good travel food for people when you're on an airplane or you're traveling or whatever, and you need something to give you energy for your ketogenic lifestyle. Are we supposed to think that their heart, Ross and Kara that started that company, their heart is not in it just because they make money and just because now they're in GNC stores and Vitamin Shop and CVS stores? Are we supposed to just discredit their success just because they're making money? Am I supposed to be discredited because I sold 500,000 copies of Keto Clarity? Am I supposed to somehow feel bad about that and people think that I've sold out because I, quote, made money off of keto? To me, we got to get over this mentality. Yes, keto is free. And oh yeah, by the way, this Jimmy Rants doesn't cost you a darn thing. All of my podcasts, the Nutritional Pearls podcast, the Living La Vida Low Carb show, Keto Talk, the Keto Hacking MD podcast, guess what? Every single one of those resources is 100% absolutely free to listen to. So about 95% of what I do is free. And if I ask you, hey, if you like what you hear and like what I'm doing, go buy my books, that 5% of what I do, and a lot of you do, so thank you for that. Is that me selling out? I don't think so. I think what I've done is provided a great service of education, and I'm only using myself as an example. There are a lot of people in this space that are putting a whole lot of energy and time into helping educate other people. I'll tell you what, there is a keto coach service that's out there that this person that offers these services, they have people that are really mad at them because, well, keto is supposed to be free, so why are you charging for your service? Never mind that this person invests hours upon hours upon hours of their personal time to help coach this person about keto. And if you don't need keto coaching services, great, but don't bemoan someone that decides to make it into an entrepreneurial spirit type of project where they want to, yes, make money, yes, make a living. But here's the dirty secret. When people make money, guess what happens? They can keep sharing. There would be no Jimmy Rants for me to share if I wasn't able to be comfortable with the other sources of income that come from my book sales, that come from podcast sponsorships, and other sources of income. And what I want to know is why are the work, or why is the work of people like myself devalued, and I'm made to look like that I'm selling out because I make money off of keto? Why is that mentality there? What is the genesis of that? Why can't people, because there's jobs every single day people go to. Nobody says they're selling out. Why is this any different a job? Yes, it's an unconventional job. Not everybody gets to podcast and have ads on a podcast. Not everybody gets to write books and sell books that end up in Costco and Barnes & Noble and Amazon and all these different places. So for me, the keto is free movement is misguided. I think they're absolutely correct that people can get a lot of great free information online about keto if they're willing to put in the time and effort to go find it. What I don't like is the notion that if you make books and if you sell coaching services and if you have products that are related to keto, that you are automatically dismissed and disqualified from sharing about keto because you're only in it for the money. Can I tell you how much that ticks me off to no end? Because I have put in my dues. Can I tell you, when I first started blogging online in 2005, it was a year after I lost my weight and started Atkins and started kind of promoting low carb. I created Living La Vida Low Carb. And I didn't make any money for years. I mean, none. And I was okay with that because this was a passion of mine. You guys hear the passion in my voice every single day on these Jimmy Rants. That's always been there. I've never lost the passion. What I've gotten better at is ways of communicating that passion, ways of sharing it in different ways. I'm doing this on Instagram Live. It's also on YouTube. It's also on a Jimmy Rants podcast. So I have different ways. And then I do all those other podcasts, which, oh yeah, by the way, is every single day of the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I have all my podcasts. Plus these shows air every single day. So I am busting my tail providing a great educational service to the community, to the keto community. And so for all those people that say, well, keto is free, hashtag, Am I not worth the information that I'm sharing? Is it not worth being compensated for? I think it would be ridiculous for anybody else to say, oh, you're not putting in enough work. I'm probably the hardest working guy in keto. I do more information and put out more content than probably most people do. And oh yeah, by the way, yeah, I've got people that work for me behind the scenes with social media and answering emails and some podcast stuff. But as far as the pure content, I'm doing all that. I'm putting together the show notes for all of the shows. I'm organizing what we're going to talk about. I'm setting up interviews. All of that takes time. Should I not be compensated for that? I think so. And most reasonable people would say, of course you should be. And yet this whole movement, and I know you guys have seen it, hashtag keto is free. Okay, great. Go ahead and have your free keto. You'll get your money's worth, by the way, because sometimes that free information is not very good. I just had a gentleman come spray for bugs at my house. And he's like, I see you've got this keto book over here. You know anything about keto? So I was able to hand him a copy of Keto Clarity, and I explained to him, yeah, keto's an interesting topic. He said, yeah, I tried Googling it, and it was just so confusing because some people said you needed to carb up. Some people said you didn't eat carbs at night, but you could eat carbs during the day. Some people said you needed lots of MCT oil. Some people said you needed to eat butter in your coffee. Some other people said you needed to implement periods of fasting, but it didn't know what that meant. And I said, here, read this book. It's going to make it all explainable and easy to understand language. And so you need translators. You need people who can explain what all this means. And that's where having books as resources available is so powerful. And it's why, yes, I make money off of selling the book. My publisher is more than happy with the relationship they have with me because a lot of people have responded to, especially Keto Clarity and the Complete Guide to Fasting. And so I have no shame because I have worked my butt off and I have put in my dues to do this. And so my response to the Keto is Free movement is stop devaluing those people who choose to make an entrepreneurial spirit come alive with the subject of keto. That in and of itself is not selling out. That in and of itself is not a bad thing. And we've got to get over this. Maybe it's a certain ideological position that people aren't allowed to make money. I don't know what it is. All I know is I work my butt off. I give away a whole lot of stuff, you guys. From information to talking to people personally on the phone. I do that quite a bit. And behind the scenes, I'm trying to help as many people as possible from a financial perspective and from various perspectives. I don't talk about it. It's really nobody's business what I'm doing. But at the end of the day, don't judge me because I've been able to successfully write books that sell. Don't judge me for that. You write a book. If you're that intelligent about sharing and getting information out there and you've got all the answers, which a lot of these people pretend like they do, show me what you got. Write a book. Let's see what you got. And let's see how you do. But don't devalue the input that you get from keto entrepreneurs. All right, let's see what you guys have to say. Welcome in, welcome in. Thank you so much for being here today on Jimmy Rants. It's always good to be with you guys. All right, we all share so much for free, says Dory. And Dory, you do a great job with that. But we can't teach from the streets. And here's the thing too. A lot of what people know is what they've read in books. A lot of what people know is what they've learned from other people. So yes, keto is free, but how did you get the information initially? Somebody had to make money off of providing that information. Otherwise, who pays their bills in this movement? Who's able to afford their electricity bill? Who's able to put food on the table? who's able to do all the things that you need to do to stay viable. Not many, unless you made money elsewhere. Susan says, it's crazy. I can't believe people would actually think that people like yourself would spend as much time as you spend and not make a living somehow. It's funny, Susan, but they do. I have people, I don't know if it's jealousy because I work for myself, but I have people that think I don't work at all. I'm like, really? I do 2 Jimmy Rants a day. I do 5 podcasts a week. I'm constantly writing books. I'm always thinking of new ideas. I'm traveling. I'm speaking at events. I'm doing all kinds of things, but I'm not working. It doesn't add up, does it? Ashton says, we all have the choice not to purchase any keto products, and if these products help people on their journey, so be it. Not everyone is out there trying to cheat on keto. And thank you for that, Ashton. Yeah, I think sometimes we lose the perspective of, okay, let advertisements happen. I put products and services on my podcast as an ad, but guess what? How many of you have been forced to buy one of those products that is an ad on one of my podcasts? How many of you have been forced to buy that before you're allowed access to listen to the podcast? Anybody? That's right, you didn't, because it's all for free. So my hashtag keto is free is, okay, put up with hearing an ad that maybe you don't want to hear. Oh well, you got a free content to some really good information. How are you supposed to live, says Bonnie. How do you buy food? How do you educate yourself more? It's just not true. Yeah, there's people though, Bonnie, that they honestly believe in their heart of hearts that keto is free, and that if you make any money off of a book or off of a service or a coaching service, or, well, you know, Christine gives nutritional health service. She's a nutritional therapy practitioner, and she's helping people through the prism of being a nutritional therapist. She's helping people with their keto lifestyle. Is she not allowed to make money? Anybody? Of course she is. The behind the scenes work is 12 to 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. Dory, at least. I literally, you guys, I go to bed at 8 o'clock at night, and I'm up about 4:30, and I hit the ground running. And I'm doing all kinds of things behind the scenes, constantly working on content. Content. People often say, where do you come up with all this new content? My brain never stops. I got new content all the time because people are interested. That's it. Ute says, I loved your book and I buy specific keto products. For me, it's about the quality and not what I'm spending. Thank you for that, because I think sometimes people forget, okay, there's people that are interested in hearing about some new products. What if there's a new like blood ketone meter? Don't you want to hear about that? What if there's this new product that helps to regulate your blood sugar pretty well? Wouldn't you want to know about that? What if there's a new book that's about some condition that you're dealing with, like thyroid? Don't you want to hear about that? But if there were no products or services being created to help educate and to provide that service and or product to someone, and you wouldn't have the ability to hear about it, is anybody getting helped? To me, keto entrepreneurialism is helping a lot more people than it's supposedly harming, and it's helping to enhance that hashtag keto is free information that you're getting online. There are some large keto accounts that are bashing people, including Dr. Fung's tea, for making money on keto. I don't get it. Those things can help some people. And that's the thing, Keto My Success. I don't think we need to bash any product that's trying to help promote the keto message. Because the moment that we squelch entrepreneurialism is the moment the keto message dies. And I've talked about this long before keto hit it big time in the last couple of years. When I wrote Keto Clarity, there was no keto community. There were no keto products. There was no keto nuttin'. We started it with Keto Clarity. That was the first big splash. And then all this stuff has come ever since. When Keto Clarity came out, we were begging anybody to do stuff with keto, because we all recognize that in order for a movement to have legs and sustainability, people have to make money from it. And we have to be okay with that. This whole notion of you're not allowed to make money off of the message of keto, that's just hogwash. I think anybody that puts their blood, sweat, and tears into creating some kind of a product and or service that is of value to the community and people see value in it to the point that they're willing to spend money on it, we don't need to squelch that. We need to encourage that. What we need to squelch, though, are the people that are in it just for the money. It's very obvious the Slim Fast company is in it right now just for the money. Please stay away from the Slim Fast keto stuff. If they were about keto, they would have been making those products years ago. They are in it for the money. Okay? So we need to encourage those people that are in it for the right reasons. And you know who they are. You know who the people are that you love and trust in this community. And you know who's come along, Johnny come lately, simply to make money. So buyer beware. Yes, Ashton says South Beach Diet is another one. Yeah, they've come up with a keto plan as well. Kitty Caddick says, so all those uneducated doctors and pharmaceutical companies are fine making money off poor, sick people and calling them or keeping them sick, and somebody who can deliver a message that can turn lives around are bad. It's perspective, Kat. It really is. And thank you for sharing that. Yeah, nobody bats an eye that hand over fist junk food companies have made money off of selling crappy garbage products. Nobody batted an eye at Doritos or Coca-Cola or Little Debbie or Kellogg's or any of these other companies that have peddled grainy, sugary, nasty, crappy garbage. And yet the moment I want to try to help educate, and it's not just me, I'm just using myself as an example, but the moment people in the keto world try to do the same with a very positive and healthy message, they get lambasted for it. It's crazy. BS Bird 76, Keto Clarity changed my life for good. Thank you for that, Jimmy. Capitalism is the best. You have provided a lot of help for a lot of people over the years. You deserve to be making a living through your entrepreneurialism. Well, thank you. I love what I get to do, and never before with any job that I've had have I worked as much. Never before have I gotten up as early and worked as late. This job is enjoyable to me because I'm jazzed every single day to be able to come on here, for example, or get behind the podcast microphone or get behind my computer typing on another book. Those are the things that I know every time I do, I'm changing somebody's life. I'm giving somebody hope, inspiration, encouragement. And to me, that's the gratification of what I do that goes well beyond the financial blessing that this is. I get so much blessing. And I heard from many people at this Atlanta event I was just at who were almost in tears talking to me, telling me how much my work has meant to them in their lives. And to me, if it was just about the money, that response wouldn't matter to me. But that response is all that matters to me. It does. Lisa's Healthy Life says, I don't think the issue is people making money off keto. The bigger issue is a small but growing group on social media who feel the need to regulate the keto movement. Well, that's a whole nother issue, Lisa. Well, you're not doing keto the right way. So we're going to call you out on it. Yeah, that's a whole nother Jimmy Rants, Lisa. Stay tuned. Ute says, I would rather pay for what I believe in than something that kills me. Absolutely. Sharon says, preach it. So glad we have you and Christine to help us out. I just bought Keto Clarity and Real Food Keto. Well, thank you, Sharon. And you'll learn from those resources, and then you apply that, and then maybe you're able to share that with other people. I don't see where there's this disconnect of, well, it has to be free or it's just illegitimate. And it's like, yeah, that doesn't make sense. Dory says, that's like saying if you really loved your job, you wouldn't want to get a paycheck to pay your bills. Oh, Dory, yes. It is amazing when you apply this whole
mode of thinking to people in their situation. Oh, well, I'm not making money off keto. I'm just flipping burgers. I'm just sitting in an office and typing up, papers. And why is it different? Why is it different? Yes, what I do for a living is unconventional. I write books and I have podcasts, advertisers. That's my main sources of income. It's unconventional, but that doesn't mean it's bad. You're definitely not a sellout. You're inspiring to us. Thank you for that, Ute. I really appreciate that. I don't know that many keto people that have such a good filter of what to advertise. Well, Kitty Caddick, that's the other thing. People think that I'm a sellout because I have advertisers on my website. If they only knew that I turn down about 95% of the stuff that's pitched to me, because most of it is just crap that I would never promote. But that's never talked about either. I've turned down a lot of money. I mean, a lot of money from companies that wanted to advertise on my site. And I start looking at their product and it's not legitimately keto. It's too high in carbs, too high in total carbs, too high in total protein, not enough fat. And I'll call them out on it and they'll be like, well, we're selling a lot. Okay, well, you sell a lot, but you're not selling, and you're not going to have my name promote your product. So yes, I'm very selective about the companies that I allow to be an advertiser. And I think you guys deserve that if you listen to my show, to know that I've vetted out everything pretty fully. Susan says more attention should be given to people who are spreading disinformation and getting paid to do it. Yeah, there's a lot of people, and I don't want to name names right now, but there's people that you'd never heard of them before, like the last year and a half. Suddenly they pop up on the scene and they're keto experts. If they were keto experts, where the bleep were they when I was writing Keto Clarity, trying to find anybody that would talk about keto? I put 24 moment of clarity quote experts in Keto Clarity, and those were the people at the time that I could find that would talk about keto. It wasn't many. It wasn't many at all. And now you got all these people that have popped up out of nowhere. I'm a keto expert. I've always been about keto. Well, where were you in 2013 when I was writing my book? And I've got some behind the scenes information about some very famous keto experts today that have popped up in the past couple of years that 5 years ago when I was writing Keto Clarity, they weren't promoting anything close to keto. I'm going to hold that close to the vest, but just know that there's people out there promoting keto now that were far, far away from keto when I was writing Keto Clarity. And so, okay, maybe you've learned something in the last couple of years and you've become this expert, whatever, but don't pretend like you've always been about this. And these same people are also selling supplements and you've got to take this and you've got to eat my product that has this green supplement and all this kind of stuff. Guys, those are the shysters, and you know who they are. I'm not saying their names, but you know who they are. That in and of itself does not make them, does not discredit them, but the fact they just popped up on the scene and that they seem to try to sell you something at every other breath. You don't hear me selling you something every other breath. Yes, I have advertisers, but I'm not putting it, well, if you just go over to www.blanketyblank.com, and I'm not doing that in the middle of the content. You're getting the content, and then there's ads sprinkled throughout. There's nothing wrong with that. Everybody wants and raves about the Betty Crocker cookbook, but think you and Christine are in it for the money, says Josh. Nancy says, selling services is tough. I sell my services that are non-keto. I see the exact same problem. People have a problem putting value on non-tangibles, and it's just wrong. I can tell you, Christine, with her nutritional therapy practitioner services, she charges an obligate amount of money for the services, but what the client may or may not realize is that behind the scenes, she is spending hours upon hours upon hours looking at what the person is doing, looking up things that they could do to improve that diet, looking up nutrient deficiencies that maybe that make a recommendation. She's putting in so much time with each of those clients. They are more than getting their money's worth out of the service that she provides them through her rebootingyournutrition.com. So if you want to hire somebody that's going to put a lot of work into helping you and give you great nutritional health services, rebootingyournutrition.com. Christine is your girl, I promise you. Your knowledge is worth millions. Well, Brittany, I'm waiting on the millions. I will take them and not feel bad about it. Bonnie Lene, you experimenting with your own health just to educate us is free too. That's the other thing, Bonnie. Thank you for bringing that up. So I've been doing a lot of self-experimentation for many years. Started off with nutritional ketosis. That was back when blood ketone strips were over $5 a piece. And I was testing twice a day, every day for a year, some days every hour on the hour. Cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. I didn't get any money for that. I tested my blood sugar. That was about 50 to 75 cents per. Cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. I've been running blood tests with the Keto Hacking MD podcast. And all these blood tests cost money. The ones that I most recently did with the Keto Carnivore experiment, both before and after, and I'm going to do it every single month for the rest of the year while I'm continuing this Keto Carnivore just to see what changes take place. That's $450 every single time. Cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. Did I make any money doing that? No, just the opposite. It's sucking the money out. But to me, it's a part of me paying it forward because of the success of my books and because, yes, I've made money off of doing and promoting keto. I'm able to buy those things, which then adds more information and knowledge to the keto community. So I feel no shame in that. And last week, my episode 200 of this very show, I put out there at the very end, after I talked about the value of $100, what would it help you with? And a lot of people responded. At the end of that, I asked people, go do this, go do that, and tell me you did it, send me an email. And every single one of those people, I sent $100 to. Shockingly, it was only about 13 people. It wasn't hard. Just go leave me a review, go subscribe to my YouTube, go subscribe to my Instagram, send me an email that you did those things. Bada bing, bada boom, you got $100. 13 people took advantage of that. I didn't have to send $100 to 13 people. I would have gladly done it for 100 people. And that's the kind of thing that I think making money off of keto has enabled me, for example, to do. Because I have a heart for giving and giving information, giving resources, giving time. That's just my heart. Now, not everybody has that heart. A lot of people may have greediness in their heart and they don't want to be as giving. But for Jimmy Moore, I'm trying to be as giving as I possibly can be. The hashtag keto is free movement is hard to combat. Keto is free. However, not everyone can take raw information and turn it into progress. And Brittany, that's the thing. I don't mind that keto is free. Absolutely it is. In fact, that guy from the pest control company, I say, what do you know about keto? Well, it's you minimize the carbs, right? You eat more fat. That's right. And you don't eat too much protein, kind of moderate down the protein. I'm like, dude, you got it. He knew the basics of what keto was. But he's like, but I don't know where to start. I don't know where to go from there. I don't know what that looks like. And so that's where having the resources is so helpful. Angie says, I agree with you. However, on the other side of it, I answered a certain keto doc's keto quiz. Before I finished it, it was trying to sell me his products, not his info. It turned me off from him. And Angie, that's the wrong way to do it. You will never see anything like that on any of my websites. I don't like those ones where that you get a pop-up or whatever on their website that's pitching you to buy their product, and it's hard to get away from it. And that to me is horrible. If you go to a website and the first thing you see within 10 seconds is some pop-up ad for some product or service, leave, because that's not right. I think you should be able to take and access information on a website that gives you free information, gives you access to some good information. And then while you're there, if you happen to see something that looks interesting to you, like Keto Clarity, or like my book, Real Food Keto, or Cholesterol Clarity, or The Complete Guide to Fat, and you want to click on that and get it, that's great. But you're getting a lot of free information before you get to that. Keto Nessa says growing your own food is free, butchering your own meat is free, but most people aren't doing that. So yeah, we do like our convenience. And so that's another good point too, is books put information that, yes, might be on the internet, but it puts it all in one place as convenience. And so a lot of the information that we've put in most of my books, maybe you can find on the internet, not all of it, but most of the information, I suppose. But most people don't have the time or the know-how about gathering all that information and seeing it all in one place. And plus, you don't get the narrative always of someone that knows how to write. And that is one skill that I have a lot of talent in, is I do know how to write. And so that's the value that you get from that. Easy and cheap is what got us into trouble, says Olga. Exactly. Keto Christine, it's true. You're very generous. I can say that from personal experience. Thank you, Christine. You get what you pay for. Your information and help, I feel, is invaluable. And Ashton, thank you for that. One of the things that I'll hear from people is, I don't really need another book, but I feel like I want to help continue your mission in some way. So there's people that buy my books as a way of saying thank you for all the information they get, like here on Jimmy Rants or on my podcasts. I used to have a donation button on my sites because people wanted to donate. They didn't necessarily want to buy any product or buy any books. And so I used to have that on there. I think we took it off. I recently did an update on my website, but people would send some money every once in a while. It'd be several $100s a month. And I'm like, wow, people saw the value in it. I wasn't asking for the money. They would just send it because they saw the value in what I shared. The miracle of keto, you're saving lives. Dedicating your life to helping others is a gift. If you make a living that gives you more time to give to others, that's awesome. Thank you. Well, thank you, Miracle of Keto. That's the thing too. I'm able to come on Jimmy Rants twice a day because I don't have a 9-to-5 job that I have to go to. I make enough money from the podcast sponsors and the book sales. I make enough money that I can come on here, provide good information, have content ready to go for you guys, and all the podcasts that I do, I'm able to have the time at home to do those. I don't take it for granted that I have that time. So the fact that I invest so much time and energy into what I do is me trying to pay back for all the great blessing that I've gotten from the sale of books like Keto Clarity and The Complete Guide to Fasting and Real Food Keto and all the stuff that I'm doing. I'm a pay it forward kind of guy. Stick around a while. You will notice that if you haven't already. Thank you for paving the path, says Kimberly. Thank you. Never have I bought a single product. Not that I never would, but not so far, says Grandma Does Keto. Well, good. Keto with RP. Are all the keto is free people volunteering at their job and not getting paid? It's no different to me. It drives me crazy. Yeah. I've helped a lot of people for free just to get the word out and find the path that's for me. I just want the world or the word to be known. My dad said last week that I'm a walking billboard for keto, says Kimberly. Atta girl. Grandma Does Keto says no products but books. Lots of books. And we appreciate that. Lisa says, I feel like you're more careful with who you choose to do advertisements with as well. I wouldn't have found Keto Vitals without those ads. And I think Keto Vitals is an example of a great company who's created a fabulous product to help people trying to balance their electrolytes on a ketogenic diet. If you follow the Keto is Free movement, you may miss the importance of salt, magnesium, potassium, and getting ample amounts of water, which is what Keto Vitals is educating people about and providing a service for. So thank you for that. That's awesome. Susan says, if we were forced to purchase something in order to listen for free content, that would be different. Yep, you'll never have that on Livin' La Vida Low Carb Show. Dory says, I hate it when people talk smack about you. Without you, there wouldn't be a keto community. Well, there might be a keto community, but it might have been delayed from when it started. Like I said, Keto Clarity came out 2014, and then keto started to explode around late 2016, early 2017. It was 2017 in April, which was last year. Or 2 years ago, excuse me. April 2017, when keto finally started outpacing paleo as the most Googled diet search term. And it was at that point Keto Clarity really took off. I mean, it sold well when it first came out, but it got like this rebirth suddenly, and it took off, and I knew something big was happening behind the scenes. And of course, now here in 2019, it's off to the races. Oh my goodness, you said garbage. That's golden. Oh, Brittany, you've never heard my phrase. I coined that term a long time ago. Crappy garbage. So yes, garbage, carbs, garbage. I coined that term. We put it in Keto Clarity, was the first place where we put that. Let's see. I've loaned my Keto Clarity book to my friend, says Rochelle. Thank you for your time and knowledge. Sounds like you're going to have to get that book back. Don't all blogs have advertisers, says Barnyard Coffee. Thanks for what you do. You've been a great help. All I've paid for is buying your books, and they bless me. And that's all I need. If you get great content from me on a daily basis through my podcasts and through these Jimmy rants and everything else that I do, and you feel there's value in that you want to buy my books, I think that's a pretty good trade-off. Backburner Art says, what you do in keto has changed my life and my family's lives. Where I live in Southwest West Virginia is some of the poorest, unhealthiest places in the United States. We have a keto movement started in our community. Yeah, I'm going to be in West Virginia this weekend. There's a big event taking place where is it taking place? But it's the Keto United people. Go look up ketounited.net, I believe is their website. But it's going to be in West Virginia this weekend. Christine and I will be there for an event. Thanks for all your input. So educational. Thank you, A.K. Shaw. Because of you, I'm doing the same keto carnivore challenge that you're doing, Rochelle said. Thank you. I trust you and hope you make millions. Thank you, Keto Friendly. I'm still waiting on the millions. That hasn't happened. Yazika says, I learned so much from your rants. Thank you for watching. I always recommend Keto Clarity to anyone starting, says Gina. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Now I go back to the basic to keto and just eat one meal still until I'm full, keeping it simple, says Gerald. So guys, the bottom line in this Jimmy Rants is there is great value in those people that are involved in the keto community that have an entrepreneurial spirit. Now, again, not everybody that's in the keto world is in it specifically just to make money. I started as an education piece, as an outlet to share with the world all about the benefits that I got from going low carb and then eventually going keto. Okay? So I share all of that information, and it happened to turn into that. Most of the people, the Keto Connect guys, Matt and Mega will tell you this, really everybody online who just started sharing their story, they didn't ever start off to make it into a business. It just became that because there was such an attraction to what they were sharing about that people wanted to go and look and see what they were all about. And then suddenly they have hundreds of thousands of people following them. And then people, hey, what do you think about? And they start asking about these products. So that's when they start talking about companies. That's when maybe they start having advertisers. That's when they have a platform big enough that it attracts the attention of a publisher that then wants to have them write a book. Does it take away that original passion that got them online to begin with? Absolutely not. So the whole notion of this keto is free movement, my response to you is perspective. Remember from whence you came. Know that a lot of that information that's online that is free for people to access and to learn about keto, it got there because somebody was able to make money off of keto. And there's no shame in that. That's it for this episode of Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website. As always, we start off over on Instagram. We do a couple of live videos every single day. Thank you. Kimberly reminded me, Keto United is in Ranson, West Virginia. So Christine and I will be there Saturday night for an event with Real Food Keto. I'll have all my books. So if you're going to be in Ranson, West Virginia, go look it up online. The Keto United, I think they're pitching it as like a Valentine's Day party 1 week later. So go check that out. Thank you for that, Kimberly. JimmyRants.com. So go follow me on Instagram, Livin' Low Carb Man, LIVINLOWCARBMAN. You can watch it live, just like all these people did here today. Great conversation today, you guys. If you missed the live, you can watch it on replay along with hundreds of your fellow Instagrammers. So thank you for all my replayers. Thanks for being here. If you miss it on replay, it disappears after 24 hours. So go check out all the past episodes. They are on YouTube. Type in a keyword, Jimmy Rants. You will find the show. We're up to 200 and something now, guys. So go check out all the past episodes of Jimmy Rants. Finally, we have the best of the best moments of this here podcast or this here show in podcast form over on Apple Podcasts as well as Stitcher. JimmyRants.com is the website. So until next time, we'll see you then.